Welcome to Happy Wife, Happy Life. We're your hosts. I'm Kendahl Landreth.
And I'm Jordan Myrick.
And we are two incredibly unqualified,
but deeply in love comedians who are here to help you with all things relationships. And on today's episode, we are talking about dating and gender with ER Fightmaster.
Hello.
Nailed it. ER,
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
That was so professional.
Thank you very much. My dad hates it.
Oh, okay, cool.
He thinks it's too annoying and loud.
Oh, interesting. He's listening to podcasts?
My dad is a big fan of Kendahl's.
Oh, that's sweet.
That's sweet.
Okay, I like that.
My dad's a big fan of Kendahl's. So.
We, on the sports podcast that I host, we have one thing that we say every time. It's like, hey, welcome, jocular fans. Like, it's the three things in a minute. And as you can see right now, a year of recording.
Feels like you don't really know it.
I could not write it down.
I could not pick out a singular word of what you said just now.
I said about sports and da-da-da.
I love that. Okay, wait, plug your podcast right up at the top.
Jocular Pod. If you like women and queer people and sports, you're gonna like the Jocular Podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. I co-host it with my friends Tian Tran and Katie Kershaw, and it's really just an excuse for us to talk about like hot queer people, but through the guise of activism and activity.
That is amazing.
I love that.
That's
Thank
incredible. Well, welcome to our show. We're so happy to have you here. How was your morning?
It was absolutely fine.
Good.
Yeah, sure.
I have an Apple computer and a Mac, if you will, and this thing has recently started deleting files from my computer, and I feel like one of those college students that's lying when they say that. And the girl's not charging, and she's not doing her job, and she's 2 years old.
But this is what I'll tell you. Quality control, it is just completely gone. We're for everything. Every restaurant I used to go to that I loved, now it's just a little worse. Every snack I used to like, I love sweet tart ropes. Now you get them, they're flat.
No.
Hardly any cream inside.
They used to be round.
They used to be round. Now they're flattened
flat.
and they're
So
stuck
funny
together.
to call
You
it cream.
Tear them apart.
It's cream. What would you call it?
I've never really put it into words, but you're totally right. It's a cream-filled rope, which you shouldn't be allowed to say on
100%.
air.
Yeah, they're twink-like.
It's a cream-filled plastic rope that I got on at the movies, and now it's flat, and I have to rip it apart, and it's terrible. We were ranting the other day. I mean, the biggest drama in our house is that we never have a vacuum cleaner that works. I buy 8 vacuums a year. None of them, they all break. Is it user error? I don't know. I don't care.
Can you tell me the brand?
It's
every
brand.
brand.
I've tried. Dyson's not good. I'll tell you that.
It's 100% user error.
I spent a mortgage on a Dyson vacuum, and it doesn't work anymore.
It's
I'm
100%
a Dyson slut because I think that they're better looking, but I'm not. But I've never had a vacuum that worked. I buy them. I'm buying them like I'm buying a sports car without an engine in it. I'm like, I'm gonna go ahead and drop $10,000 on this handheld Dyson. But there's one rule: it can't pick up any dirt.
Yeah.
Yep. No,
Okay.
100% doesn't, and the thing in the middle doesn't spin. But that is what it is because you do it. You don't buy a vacuum so that you can clean your house. You buy a vacuum that when someone spills something at your house, you pull out a Dyson and they go, "Oh, good, she's rich. Got it.
I'm
good.
the opposite of Kendahl in this way. I want everything to be ugly and extremely useful, and Kendahl wants everything to be beautiful and non-functioning.
Well,
Those are the two genders.
Truly.
Wow.
Which is which?
Wow.
Truly.
I won't say.
They're two of their new own genders.
But I'm sorry about your Apple because it really has quality control has gone out of control. And they used to, I mean, Apple computers would last 8-10 years. And then I'm serious. I had a desktop. My sister had a desktop when we were younger, and it was like 6 years old. We went in. This was pre Steve Jobs dying. Something changed after that.
You're giving real kind of boomer energy right now.
I'm into it.
You're like, things used to be different before Steve Jobs died, when he touched every computer before it left the warehouse.
Turned to gold. That's all I'll tell you. If Steve Jobs touched it, turned to gold. No, I mean, I don't know what happened.
Because he had pride.
Exactly.
Because he had fucking
And he
pride in the
worked hard,
product.
And he understood. So my sister goes in, she says, my computer's broken. They gave her a new computer for free because they said, you're a loyal customer. They don't care about that anymore.
No.
Because I called Dyson on the phone. I said, My Dyson, I'm supposed to have a warranty, which this is on me. I've never kept a receipt in my life. But they said, well, where did you buy this Dyson? I said, I don't know when, where, what year I bought this Dyson, but I have it,
with the
so
receipt.
give me a free machine.
Why would I keep a receipt? What the hell kind of space in my home do you think I have for receipts?
Yeah,
Right.
I don't want to sound like a company man, but I do have to say, I think that the reason why some of the customer care has gone away is obviously greed, but also like people are bad, manipulative liars. And I can't tell you how many times I've like watched someone fully lie to a sales associate.
Well,
You were talking
Yeah.
about the customers being liars. I was like, what part of you think this makes you sound like a company man?
customers being liars, even just like working
I
in
don't
retail,
care. It does.
I do. I'm
they-
sorry.
They don't have. It's you have to think about net positive, net evil.
Okay, we're
And
talking business. This is a
these
business podcast now.
people that are coming in there to like get their free laptop, even though they have another one at home, they're robbing the company of like $1,200,
Yeah.
probably $2,500, $3,500 now. Those motherfuckers have kids mining in Africa for the shit.
Okay, listen, the way you're saying that is 100% correct. And that's not what I'm arguing. But what I am arguing is we can't just keep letting people in everyday society be bad people consistently. Obviously, that starts from the top down.
It's too late.
No, I can't take it. Because
We
that
have
woman,
to just take what we can.
No, we can't. Because
I'm not going into a local taqueria and being like, my taco's broken. Give me
But
8 free tacos.
people are. That's my thing. People are, because people see that it works in little ways. Like used to, I don't know, used to when you would fly.
Well,
if it was your what?
No,
I didn't even start my sentence. What kind of thought could you have on it?
I agree with you. I agree.
It's like people used to, when you got engaged or it was your honeymoon or whatever and you were flying, they would give you a bottle of champagne on the plane. They would upgrade you for free, whatever. And then people started going online and on TV and stuff and being like, hey, when you get to the airport, lie. Say that you're engaged, whatever. Now it's like nobody can have a nice special thing because everyone was so greedy. And then I think they take that. Once again, I don't care about a huge company. Like, I don't care what you do to like United Airlines, like whatever. Steal a whole airplane. It does not matter to me. But those people acting like that.
Yeah.
And once again, not hardcore criminals. I think hardcore criminals they're smart. They're doing a good job. I think these normal, petty, everyday people that are selfish are ruining things for the rest of us. But then they do take that energy because they've gotten away with it. And then they go to a local taqueria.
That's true.
And they say, oh, you didn't actually give me half my food. So then they get like
You're saying it's a trickle down effect.
It's trickle down economics of low level ethics and evil amongst citizens.
Well, because I will tell you, my dad, growing up, he was paralyzed. We were treated like kings when we went anywhere because he was in a wheelchair. We would go, we went to a comedian who, I was 7. I wasn't in charge of what comedian we saw.
Say it. Tell everyone who you saw.
We saw Bill Cosby.
I knew it was gonna be Bill Cosby. I felt it in my bones.
We all knew it was Bill Cosby.
It was pre, obviously, everything.
Not pre everything, but
okay, but it
podcast
happened.
is canceled.
pre the
For you knowing about it.
pre the announcement.
And this
of
was
it
before
happening.
Steve Jobs died, so this is kind of
Yeah,
the heyday of
ah,
America.
shit, okay.
And we go to see Bill Cosby live. He came to our small town, which felt kind of crazy. Maybe he knew what was on the horizon.
Or a woman there.
Yeah. So we go. We had terrible seats. First of all, this was at a fairgrounds. This is like we're in the very back row.
Kendall's whole town is essentially just a fairground, so
That's
keep that in
awesome.
mind.
Yeah, it kind of was. So he comes in. They said, "Oh my God, sir, you're in a wheelchair. Please come with us." We are put front row to see Bill Cosby, and it was like that too when we go to Disneyland. I was getting a VIP tour of everything. Now that doesn't happen because, well, my dad's dead, so I don't get that treatment anyways.
Right, okay.
But also, the people are faking being in wheelchairs at Disneyland.
Yeah, but I will say also, you are extremely spoiled.
What does that mean? What does that have to do
You
with
got all this
anything?
good treatment through your dad, but nothing was wrong with you. I think they should have let him alone sit front row at Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
You should have sat in the back by yourself.
I'd hear him complain all the time.
That's true.
I
Yeah,
deserved it.
that's true. You're
he was
you're living through the complaint. This is I want you to know that an argument in your favor here is what happened with LL Bean. I think it was LL Bean that had the policy that they were like, our stuff should last you for a lifetime. And so if something's wrong with it, come back, we'll fix it. We're going to give it back to you, or you can return it. You've got a lifetime guarantee on clothes. And enough people did start coming back that there was nothing wrong with it. And they were just returning it at the end of a lifetime of wear without a receipt, without whatever. And then trading it in. And LL Bean was like, we can't keep working at a loss. And so that's the one corporation where I'm like, I think you have a point here. And I also think that you have to live with yourself. So all of those little lies that we do, like telling the people out the small taqueria that one of our tacos was missing or there was a hair in our salsa and so we get that thing for free, you degrade your soul in front of God. I literally believe that.
I can get on board with
And if you think that anybody's going to take a photo of me with an iPhone anymore, I do fan conventions for Grey's Anatomy, and my least favorite part of the fan convention is the selfies. And it's not because I like the part where you get to be with the fans and you're like next to them and you guys have an arm around each other, you have this moment of intimacy. It's because the photos that you take on an iPhone, I am out here looking like Shrek on that camera.
Yeah.
I'm like, y'all don't want that photo. We look like Shrek and Fiona right now.
Yes. I have the same thing with Kendahl and I will have a show. We had one last night. We were at Dynasty Typewriter. We come out after. I'm the hottest I've ever been. We had a 90-minute show, improv the whole time. I'm dripping sweat. My lips look like they're bleeding off my face. And people are like, let's take a photo. I'm like, Photoshop yourself into a picture of me that's already online. That will be so much more. Send it to me. I'll sign it. I'll mail it back to you for free. Like, whatever. That it will be so much better for you than what you're about to get right now.
I completely agree. I look like the fucking Grim Reaper. Like, I don't know what they're putting in those cameras, but I am convinced that they're doing it to, once again, degrade our sense of self.
Yeah.
Wow.
I agree 100%.
I could see
Because
it.
I do not be looking like that
No.
on a 23 millimeter.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not picking. I could be wiping my ass and you take a film photo of me and I'm going to look like Giselle.
Yeah.
You take a photo of me in makeup on an iPhone and I look like Slender Man.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I mean, we don't agree, but sorry, to be clear, we're not like, we've seen the
really
pics.
bad.
It's
No, but
really
it's like,
upsetting.
it's true of
really
everyone.
scary.
It's like, why? I think that is one of the most haunting things about this industry is how often you have to look at yourself. And then on top of that, how often you have to look at yourself in a way where you fully do not feel like you look like the way that you feel like you look.
No, I completely agree. That is like one of the reasons I started taking photos is because I was just like, I started taking film photos in like 2020 and I was just obsessed with the idea of like going over to like the friend's house when you were having those like outdoor things with like the 4 people that you saw for that whole year.
Yeah.
And it's like everyone is feeling this existential thing of we're disappearing into the ether. So I want to start getting photos of people so that they like feel like someone's witnessing their existence. And so the kink of getting like a really good photo of someone is capturing this moment in time where they are uniquely themselves and they look as beautiful as possible because they're feeling so integrated with themselves. And so when I take a photo that is bad, if I take a photo that is bad, like I just really actually don't take photos on my iPhone anymore because I never turn it around and show the person and see the same like happy reaction as I do when I show them like the film got developed. Here's you. Everyone is always like it's this like magic moment of feeling captured in a beautiful way. I've never had that with an iPhone.
No. And I think there is something weird about like people. Like my mom always makes fun of us because she's like, why would you want to use a Polaroid or a disposable camera? And I am like, because photos on an iPhone, there's something that like, I don't know what it is. And I feel like you would know more. Maybe it's just what you just described, but it's like photos on an iPhone they don't feel very nostalgic. They don't feel like honest or they feel very, I don't know what it is.
Well, I think there's something to the instant gratification of the photo that's like obviously nice in a way because you can confirm or deny that you got the photo you were trying to take. But at the same time, it's like you look at it and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's what I look like now, right now, in this moment. Whether or not it's good or bad, I think it just adds this weird like layer of you perceiving yourself that normally doesn't happen in the moment. Whereas when you do film or, you know, a nicer camera or whatever, you plug it into your computer later, you get the photos back 2 weeks later, whatever, and you're like, oh, I remember this nice moment I was having. So I feel like that evokes more of like a memory rather than you just hyper focusing on like, this is what I look like right now.
Yes, I think that's true. And I'm not technical in this way at all, but you know, as someone who like works in film and TV and who takes photos, none of my lenses are as small as an iPhone's. And so I'm also expecting a ton, like, from these things that are this big so they can fit in your pocket.
But they are telling you to expect that.
They are. They're, like, literally, like, it's the best camera on earth.
Yeah.
Wow.
No.
Bitch.
No.
It's a lie.
Also, what the fuck is that flower mode? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Do you know about this?
No.
Every time I go to take a photo, I'm like, why is it so blurry
There's
and
a
terrible?
little circle right down at the bottom.
It's a flower. It's
yellow and it's an outline of a flower.
And it's for when you're taking pictures of flowers. But for some reason,
And it tells you what kind of flower it is. And this is what I'll tell you. We don't know that that's true. What I just said.
no, that is true.
Do we?
No,
I've
that's
never
true.
tested it.
No.
We always say that.
Because
we say
why
this
are
is so
we
weird.
But that's part of the problem. Who's
I'm gonna see
taking
if I can
photos
do
of
it now.
flowers? There's no flower in here.
No, but I'm gonna see if I can do it. Just see what the mode
we can go to
is.
this. But I think it's so crazy because it's the default setting on the camera. I'm like, default. I'm mostly not taking photos of a flower. Unless I'm like a
Look at them.
6-year-old woman on a hike, I'm not taking photos of a flower.
They're like, it's this a part of this like wave in technology for them to be a part of your experience of nature.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
They said you
That's
can't
true.
just go out and be by yourself.
Yeah,
You
no,
have
no,
to be
no.
there.
I totally understand. And, I do believe that like technology can facilitate a foray into nature, especially because a lot of kids have been raised on their screens now. And so there is a little bit of this like interim period that needs to be spliced in order for children to want to go outside.
Yeah.
I recently got into, it's been like a year and I'm obsessed with it. I got into birding, and I got into like the thing that made me really psychotically obsessed about it was the Cornell app, the Merlin app. And it's like Cornell University has this thing where you can basically set your phone down, start recording. It listens to bird songs and it tells you what songs are around or what birds are around. And then you can, click on this segment of song and be like, okay, well, that's some kind of kingfisher. Well, this is what the kingfisher looks like. And then you look for it in the trees. It's like this whole immersive experience. And then at some point, I didn't need the app anymore.
Yeah.
And so it was this really lovely, like, it helped make the jump. But I think the way we get lost is by believing that the technology itself is the conduit to the nature.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It's a conduit to your first experience.
Yeah.
It should not be there for your last.
Yeah.
That's so nice. I do want to know what the most exotic bird you've seen is.
I've seen some really cool ones. I did just go to Canada, and this is not the most exotic bird I've ever seen, but I saw bald eagles, and they were flying around like they were goddamn crows.
It's wild up there. We did an Alaskan cruise 2 years ago, and we pulled up to one port, and just hundreds of birds just dipping into the ocean to get fish. I was like, what is that? Someone was like, those are bald eagles.
I'm obsessed with those girls.
They're
Yeah.
beautiful.
They're cool.
Really cool.
They're cool, and also like I love that I've never once seen them in the Pacific Northwest that belongs to the United States.
Yeah.
How did we come to the decision that this was our bird?
I know, because that was
Yeah.
my school mascot in elementary school.
Yeah, we love that bird. Never seen one in the
No.
U.S. I don't even think that bird has a passport to the U.S.
No.
Interesting.
Yeah, I said what I said.
Can I ask a favor?
Mm-hmm.
Will you send us a photo of a bird you've taken?
Yes.
A
To
bird
post
you've
on our-
taken,
to
not a
post-
photo of you've taken. A bird you've
No,
taken.
a bird. Yeah, a bird you've kidnapped. Okay. No, will you
Sure.
send us a photo of a photo you've taken of a bird,
Okay.
and we'll post it on our Patreon.
Okay, I'll try to find a good one.
It can be a bad one.
Yeah, then I mean I'm sure I've got some bad ones
I would love a
because
bad
the worst I don't want to become a person that has a telephoto lens because I'm like I do think that I'll enter into pervert territory in a way I don't yet understand. But when you are, and I'm already kind of like slender like an old male farmer.
Mm-hmm.
When I am out in the woods like trying to get like a photo of a bird with my iPhone, like that's the oldest I feel. It's the worst photos I've ever taken, but y'all about to see them.
Oh my
I
god!
can't wait. People are gonna love that.
This is a dating and relationship podcast. I need to know because you're on Grey's. Who's your favorite Grey's couple?
Of all time.
Kai and Amelia.
All right.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm not giving that credit to anybody else. I think we brought the fucking heat.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm obsessed. With
I think that's extremely confident. I mean, I think it's great. I agree. in a way, but it's very bold.
The one thing that the Grays fans know about me is I don't really watch TV. And so if you ask me right now who some other couples were, I would say my other favorite couple is Sandra Oh and Ellen Pompeo.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's the information I'm trying to give without being disrespectful.
Absolutely. No, I understand.
Yeah.
And we're in a similar boat because some might say that we don't listen to podcasts.
I've never heard a
some might
podcast
say.
in my fucking life.
Yeah,
No,
we
I
host a
would not
podcast.
host a podcast. I would not.
But we're not. I'm sorry, we're not supposed to be doing it. We're like constantly having to deal with podcasts. I don't want to hear any other podcasts.
Yeah.
We're all doing our podcasts every week. The folks get to see us like have a fun, nice time talking to our friends or our partners. We are answering so many irritating emails about these goddamn podcasts. Like, after I started running a podcast, then I tried listening to The Daily again, and I couldn't stop thinking about Michael Barbara, See You Tomorrow, him having to like work with his producers to be like, I think we want to have this on, and we're thinking about talking about this. Well, no, we're not going to be able to talk about this. Actually, that author is going to be late. I can't listen to anything anymore. It's done.
It's absolutely bizarre because I think so many people think of people who do this work, and maybe there are people who do it that are like this, but they think of them as very like narcissistic, obsessed with themselves. And I'm like, there's no world in which you hate the sound of your voice or the way that you look in the way that I do. I have to look
Yes.
and not even hate because I hate the way it sounds. I've
Just
heard
sick of it.
I'm so
Fatigued.
tired of it. When I have to listen, my least favorite thing I do in my entire job is listening back to our podcast, and I adore our podcast. But if I have to hear myself, I know so intricately every annoying thing. If you ever think Kendahl does that a lot with her voice, it's like I have agonized over it so much. Like I'm so tired of hearing it. No, I was gonna ask about.
Absolutely understand.
It's very hard. I was gonna ask about the Grey's Anatomy couples because I do feel like I'm a big Grey's Anatomy fan, but I come in and out. I've come in and out a little bit when a couple piques my interest. I'm a big romance guy, so I love to go see what couples are going on here. And I think every time I forget that it's Grey's Anatomy, so one of them will probably die usually.
Yes.
And I'm always really affected by it. And then I take a break from Grey's Anatomy because I'm like, I'm so mad they did this to this character. And then I come back in and I forget again that it's a medical drama where people die.
It's a stressful ass show.
Yeah. To make or just to watch?
It's a stressful show to watch. It's a stressful show to watch.
Sure. Incredible.
I feel like you have a huge fandom now because of it.
That is true. I am like eternally grateful to the show for that. I think because I didn't grow up watching a ton of TV. I kind of missed the way into Grey's, and so I didn't realize how, massive it was still. And now I'm very aware that it's like still one of the biggest shows on the planet. I think was the highest streaming show on like Disney Plus or something this year, where I was like, yeah, that's nuts. This is absolutely nuts to me. And it makes sense. I think the show's been on for like 23 seasons. Mm-hmm. So all of these people that have been fans from the beginning, this is a literal part of your like intellectual identity now. Yeah. You've grown up with these people like family. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like you might know Ellen Pompeo's character better than you know your fucking best friend.
Your real mom.
Yeah, it's nuts. So I feel really privileged that I got to be on that show that was so important. And then to have a role where I got to represent, queer and non-binary people in a way that had not yet been done on that show was also a blessing. And I got a really beautiful, like, endeared fan base because they were so happy about getting to see themselves on screen for the first time. So it's always nice to be a part of people's experience in that way.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And they do all seem desperate to kiss you on the mouth since we're talking about dating.
Yeah, they do seem desperate to kiss me on the mouth, which honestly I love, and it keeps me alive. Thank you guys so much. Like, I do love that feeling. I remember feeling, I love the feeling because remember when we were growing up and there were no queer people on TV at all? Yeah. And then when you would find a queer person on TV, you were like, I have to be them or have sex with them and I don't know which. Yeah. So I really, really honor the feeling of somebody watching like me on their favorite TV show and being like, do I want to be or do I want to kiss? Yeah. The answer is probably both.
That's a really nice way to think of it.
Well, and it's nice because now there's starting to be a little bit more options of what, like, the fact that you can watch Grey's Anatomy and be like, this is a show I actually would want to watch. And now there's a queer person on it. Versus I feel like when we were growing up, you did not get to pick what TV you enjoyed.
No,
You just
I'm
had
running
to
home
watch.
from school. I'm slapping on Ellen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even recently, it's like I had to fucking watch Bly Manor 8,000 times. Ask me what it's about. Have absolutely no idea. That plot made zero sense.
That's
to
just
me.
because you're a pervert. You just wanted to watch Bly Manor. There's
No,
other queer stuff on. You just wanted
There's
to watch
not
Bly
a
Manor.
ton. There's not a ton. I've seen Yellow Jackets 80 times. There was at the first season there was one queer couple that was side characters, and I was repeat. It's sick, and now it feels like you get to actually pick what you want to watch. Look, I liked Bly Manor.
You're just being like, 2 years ago, nothing was on TV.
My
now,
point, no,
but Bly
I think
Manor was
there's-
hot. My friend Amelia's on that show.
Yes, very
And,
hot.
A very, very hot person, and Victoria Pedretti, obviously a very, very hot
Extremely
person.
hot,
And so you were legally obligated to watch that show. Or
Well-
are you gay?
yeah.
You know?
And they were so hot. They were so hot in it, and I was obsessed with that. That it pushed me through. That I actually had absolutely no idea what was happening in that show completely. I also have you watched it?
No, I don't watch anything.
First of all, there's the spoiler alert if you haven't watched it. The whole thing is that this lake like eats them or something. It's like, oh, they walk into the
Kendall
lake.
doesn't even remember what happened.
I'm watching
She
them
watched it
fuck, okay? I don't
500
care.
times.
I've watched it a million times. The whole thing is like
Does
this
the lake at
is
least like
eating
eat them out?
No.
the lake eats them out.
This is why I keep telling Kendall,
Amelia
I'm like,
plays the
just
lake.
get into hardcore pornography.
No.
Let's just subscribe to a nice,
I need the
expensive,
heart.
ethical
I
porn
need the
website,
heart.
and then we can stop watching these TV shows that I don't like.
I need Victoria Pedretti to be like crying in anything. I need the drama. She's so good at that. But it's like
Did
the
you watch
lake.
her in the other one?
What?
Haunting of Bly
No, because there were no gay people in it. I don't
It
think.
didn't matter. She was in it. She was gorgeous.
Gorgeous. But that's my point. It's like I
She
wouldn't
was
really
crying.
watch. She's always crying.
She was crying.
What's going on with you two?
She's so hot. And
Why
she
do you
cries
always
and
be
she
unhappy?
does this thing where she's like,
I'm gonna fix her.
yeah, it's right. It's like she plays the classic, like someone, Amelia, go comfort her. It's like
Yeah.
so great. It's so good. But like my point is that I never watched Haunting of Hill House because like that's just not my type of show. Bly Manor is not really my type of show. The way that I've read 800,000 fan fictions about Bly Manor,
You're a fanfic
it's sick.
guy.
And I don't even really like
Kendall's
this.
a big fanfic guy.
I am.
Fuck.
I'm trying to like make to-do list with her at the end of the night. Like we're
Yeah.
she's just, I can see she's laying in bed. She's turned over. Her phone is like this close to her face. Full
And what do I
brightness
always
on.
say because I'm so ashamed? Jordan will go, what are you doing? I always go, oh, I'm reading my little books.
Reading my little books.
Just straight
Full
up porn.
brightness this close to her face. Fully turned away from me as if she's hiding something.
I'm addicted.
I
loves it.
love that.
And it's always the scene that the most famous one in the fanfics for Bly Manor is when she pulls her out of the lake. My point is, never put a fence around the lake. It doesn't matter. I could go on.
She pulls her out of the lake.
She
and
eventually does, but then it's too late at one point.
But in the fanfic, she pulls her out of the lake, and they be fucking.
Yep. It is good stuff.
Fanfic rules.
It's incredible. It's
I hate
absolutely great.
it.
You never tried it.
Yes, I have.
What fanfic did you try to
When
read?
I was younger.
Frasier fanfiction, probably.
Yeah. Frasier fanfiction.
I believe it.
Between the dad and Roz.
Sick.
No, I just don't. sorry. Call me old fashioned.
I won't.
I like old school pornography. A video.
Yeah, whenever Jordan shows me
With
porn they want to
scissoring.
watch, it looks like something out of a it looks like something out of a 1950s
I like two
Movies.
professional porn stars.
where they walk in and they're like,
Professional porn stars.
I'm here to clean your house.
Yeah.
That's the type of stuff you
That's what I like because they're actors and I respect the craft. I don't like it when it's weird, like the camera's over there. Oh, do they not know? I'm like, are they actors? Is this leaked footage? I don't like it. I want to 100% know that these people want to be there. They're
Consented.
doing their job. They consented. I want them to be whatever. Like a lady that's fixing a pool. And a woman who owns the Airbnb or whatever the scenario is. That's what I want.
I had a brief friendship with a person in Amsterdam who worked in the feminist porn industry.
Sure.
And they were an absolute cutie patootie. And they were telling me about a scene that they did where they showed up on set and they found out that the other worker was their ex. And so the director was like, a woman and a feminist, and sat them down across like the table from each other and was like, I want to make sure this feels good. If you guys still want to do it, let's do some drawing. And then they sat down. They did some drawing, like with crayons and stuff. They kind of connected and caught up. And then they banged it the fuck out and had a great time.
Got back together?
I didn't ask.
Wow. I mean, I think that's beautiful, and I also think gay people need to be stopped. You know what I mean? I think
I have been saying that. You can't say that anymore now because they're gonna put us in camps. But when they're
stop us too much. I want to stop them. No, I don't want anyone stopping me.
Exactly.
From the top
I want to hurt my community.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. I say that to queer people all the time, and make sure we're hurting each other on the inside. Don't let them hurt us.
Absolutely.
And don't let us watch it. I don't want them to see us hurting each other.
Yes. It's got to be private. It's got to be bitchy. It's got to be secret. It's got to be under wraps like it has historically been.
Yo.
But we have to start yelling at each other again. Like
In
some
closed
people,
door
sometimes
rooms.
you meet a gay person, you're like, people have been too scared to tell you that you're being
Annoying.
really
Yelling at other queer people should happen exactly like we're doing it right now.
Yeah. On a
Is this you yelling at us?
We're yelling at each other.
Yeah.
And it's yelling, but it's also flirting.
Right.
And it's also friendship.
And it's a
Exactly right.
multimedia experience.
Yes.
Some people are watching, some people are listening, some people have paid to watch this behind a paywall. There's a lot of different ways you can consume it, and I think that adds to it.
You should be watching it. There's a lot of leg.
There's a lot of leg featured in the visual.
We're about 150% leg over here today.
Yeah,
we're
4K, 6 legs.
We're all pretty tall. How tall are you?
6'1".
Okay.
Man,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
You're tall. You're both tall.
Yeah.
5'10",
5'9".
Hey, why did you say
5'9".
it like that?
You're not 5'9".
5'9".
You've said 5'8". What are you
Stop,
trying to be
stop,
cool in
equal,
front of-
stop.
That's so funny.
Stop,
Like,
but right now I'm 5'9". Shut up.
it's such a
I'm not going
funny
to marry
thing
you if
to
you don't
do.
have my back, seriously.
okay.
We're gonna do a little segment called Red Flag, Green Flag. This week we're doing red flags. So we're gonna pose to you, or we can go first. Each of us are gonna say a red flag.
I think it's more kind if we go first.
I
We
think
can't put
maybe.
the guest on the spot.
I think maybe.
Yeah, go ahead.
Why don't you go ahead, George?
My red flag is marathon running. I think it's wrong. I think it's evil. I think it is a form of self-harm disguised behind health. Who decided, 26.7 miles?
I think it was the Greeks.
Okay, and they've done
I
really
respect
bad
them.
in a lot of other ways. Their economy is garbage. Like, why are we trusting them? All of a sudden, we're still doing. We're not doing gay bathhouses in America like the Greeks did. What we have to do the running thing? I don't like that. Why is it? People are gonna be like, it's not 26.7. Let's pretend it is. It's close enough to that. I'm not that wrong. My best friend is a marathon runner. It's disturbing. All of his free time is spent running around to nothing from nothing. And 26.7 miles, it's so long for no reason. And then you see these people at the end of marathons, they're
covered in shit half
Yeah,
the
some of these
time. I
people
mean,
like
it's-
defecate or pee all over themselves like while they're running. Some of them wear diapers. They
And
get
then
to
the
the
comments
end,
go, that's
they-
very normal for marathon running.
Yes!
I'm like, then stop marathon running.
And they get to the end, they collapse. You have to put a tin foil blanket around them.
Yeah.
What about that is good?
tough.
I'm like, okay, a half marathon, sure, I can get on board. A 10K, I'm here for it.
Sure.
I'm all about healthy movement. But why are we acting like this thing that is so bizarre and unnecessary, and I would argue actually not good for you, is like the pinnacle of health?
I think it's funny because I wish I could remember which exactly like ancient story it is, but it's like one of like by battle. There was a battle that was happening. I forget if it was like the Greeks or the Romans, and somebody had to run like 26.4 or whatever miles it is, 24.6, to go tell like the town like, hey, we all are about to die. Like, hey, it's bad. And I think that where I agree with you outright is that was obviously a very traumatic incident for that person. Like, can you imagine them like having to run like however, we're gonna just say let's round it up to 100.
Probably no shoes.
100 miles in those nasty little medieval sandals.
No.
Just to be like, hey, everyone's about to die.
Yeah, no chafing cream, no tape on your nipples.
And then you find out when you're sitting up in heaven, if heaven exists, you're looking down there and all these people are doing it for fun.
Insane.
In shoes that have clouds on the ankles.
No
yeah, they're
way.
sucking things out of pouches. It's like, it just literally stop. Have you ever seen a marathon runner's feet? They'll be like,
Disgusting.
oh, sorry, I can't take off my sock. I have a toenail in my heel. I'm like, you need to.
Disgusting. If they have
you
any
need to
toenails at
stop.
all, it's really wild. Oedipus had sex with his mom. We don't do that anymore.
Right?
Why are we? Yeah, everyone, right? Comment if it's right. Why are we still running marathons. I just think it's so weird. I think it's really bad for you. All these people that are marathon runners have to get new knees when they're 40. You're not supposed to need new knees, you know? If something happens to you, you're in a car accident, you need new knees, you know, things happen. But you're not supposed to be doing something as a hobby.
Life traumatize you. Don't traumatize yourself.
Yes. Your hobby shouldn't make you need new knees.
That little fucker would not have been running however many miles it is if not to tell everybody that they are about to die.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
That trauma happened to them.
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
And I'll tie this up by saying it's my red flag. If you want to do it, I think everyone should be allowed to do whatever they want as long as it doesn't hurt anyone else. So if you're a marathon runner, like my best friend Colin, God bless. I think you're so strange, but like I love that you love something ultimately. That being said, you're not better than me. And you're not better than anyone else that runs a marathon. You love running marathons in the same way that I love doing something that's bad for me.
Smoking cigarettes after you have 6 drinks?
Delicious.
Yeah.
And I don't post on Instagram about that.
No,
I don't
I
get
would
a
never
medal.
tell anyone about that. In fact, I don't do that.
I also think it's funny that people do marathons often after a traumatic event. Like, I feel like people will be like, my husband died, I'm running a marathon.
Yeah.
I just beat cancer, I'm running a marathon. I'm like, if I ever have something like that happen, you will not catch me trying to find another thing.
No, I'm
that
moving
is
to
absolutely
Portugal.
horrible.
Absolutely.
Literally.
Yeah, you're going to catch me on the coast, bitch.
I'm not putting your
100%.
face on a shirt and running 30 miles.
Yeah.
I mean, that
Although
is
I
just...
think that would be really cute.
Yeah, but why? Someone else should do it. I'm like, I've already been through
Yeah.
something so terrible. Why am I now having to do I'm having to run like that poor man?
Yeah. She's not running unless I'm chasing her.
Yeah, right.
Hey, that's cute.
Thank you. All right. Are you ready with yours?
My red flag, I'm changing it. My red flag is that I feel that the Garfield movie gets a lot of hate. I genuinely believe the Garfield movie is the funniest movie of all time. Have you seen it recently?
I can't say.
It is it is a incredible movie.
Okay.
It is back-to-back jokes, laugh out loud funny. It holds up. It's still relevant. I haven't seen Tale of Two Kitties because every time I go to watch it, I just want to rewatch the first again. It's absolutely awesome.
So I'm going to
And
apologize
people
with you, and I'm going
shit
to have a
on it all the time.
conversation with Kendahl after the episode about what a red flag is. Because ultimately, Kendahl just wants to talk about the Garfield movie, which she found her love for when she recently watched it on a plane, and she was laughing out loud so violently that I had to turn over and say, "You're being too loud on the plane."
It's such a good movie.
Your red flag was like, my red flag is I love a movie.
And I want to talk about it.
No, my red flag is you, Jordan. My red flag is Jordan.
Come on.
Because my red flag is that
Tell
movie...
No, I'm not standing for this.
No, you
Tell
did a
everyone-
nice...
Yeah, tell
Sure,
everyone.
but it's your attitude around it.
No, tell everyone.
So
What's my
Jordan
attitude?
did a Garfield night for me. They made lasagna. We watched Garfield.
And I'm the red flag.
But you don't think it's funny, and I think that is a red flag.
That is not fair.
But
You
how
don't
do you
like
not think
any
it's
of the
funny?
movies I
That's like
watch.
saying like Mr. Bean isn't funny. It's just straight up wrong.
Kendahl loves Mr. Bean as well. When we went to the UK for a work thing with Spotify, and as the plane wheels touched the ground of England, Kendahl went, "We've got to stop somewhere as soon as we get off this plane so I can get a Mr. Bean keychain." And that's what we did.
And it broke immediately. So I've got to go back to London. All right, what's your red flag?
Oh man, it's so beautiful to watch like other couples because like the fights I get in with my partner are so like to me they feel so intense and like it's me like arguing for like saying that like my cat like this was a serious one where I was like, Chim, my cat, does not like overhead lighting. I've asked you.
Okay, diva alert.
Yep.
I've asked you multiple times not to come into a room and just flick on a fucking light, create an ambiance. And you know, it starts as like a little bit of a joke, but then all of a sudden you realize that we're fighting because she only does overhead lighting, and I'm like, it literally pisses me off.
Yeah.
It's changing our evening together.
Yeah.
And I know somebody watched us have that fight and was truly like,
Yeah.
And is that how you felt just now watching us talk about Garfield?
it was intoxicating to me. Like if I knew that could be a TV show, I would tune back into the TV for that.
That's so sweet. I do think that's a tip for the listeners is if you're fighting about religion, morals, things like that, find a new partner. What you should be fighting about.
That is so true. That's honest to God true.
I mean, what you should be fighting about are truly the dumbest things you could ever possibly think of.
Yes, I want you and your intellectual equal to be tripping each other over on like dumb shit, because that is actually, that's love, right?
Yes.
My partner and I believe in that we have the same ethics and morals. That's important. I'm not being like, I don't even ask who she votes for. Psychotic. I'm fully like, if you keep barraging my cat with that overhead lighting, you're gonna find yourself on the street. Yeah. You won't be welcome here anymore.
What type of cat?
Hot.
Hot and rude.
He's so fucking hot. I can't even stand it. He's so just like
fluffy.
Jesus.
Really?
Yeah. Oh my God.
That's cool.
Fluffy, big.
I love
God
that.
damn.
So it sounds like your red flag is overhead lighting.
I fucking hate overhead lighting. I will straight. That is my red flag. You spend all this money on a space just to make it unbearable, to make everybody look bad.
Yeah.
Why? How come you want shadows in your house? What is wrong with you people? It is nasty. Put on a lamp. Create a golden hue. This is like the iPhone versus film conversation. I understand. It takes a second longer to turn on the lamps. But then once the lamps are on and the overhead lighting is on, you're already having sex.
Yeah. Well, there's things that when they're in a home, romance cannot exist. Like, to me, you have to kind of keep this sort of olden day vibe to your home in order for romance to feel real.
Yes.
It's like why I'm not spraying a flashlight in your face. I'm using a candle. You know what I mean?
I'm holding a candle in my face. You're throwing a candle in my head.
The flashlight example was
spraying.
No, I think you're right.
I
I once again don't want to be a company man, but I do have to say, and I think I'm maybe the only gay person that feels like this.
Oh, no.
I am tired of going into queer spaces and not being able to see anything. I like the overhead light.
God.
It's clear. It's effective. It's doing what needs to be done. I understand the ambiance. I understand the romance.
No,
I
well, you
agree.
clearly don't understand.
I think there's a time and a place. I think there's a time and a place for it. But I'm sick of walking into a gay person's house and being like, oh, I cannot see my way to your couch. I cannot find the toilet paper in your bathroom.
Why don't you sit down and have some THC mulled wine
I don't-
not look anywhere, and whatever lips find you, find you.
I don't want to
And
do
if
that.
not, if
and let's
that's
be real,
not
your
the
friend is
space-
sober, and it's all they talk about. So why don't you have some LaCroix?
I don't want to do any of that. I want to sit in a room this bright, the three of us looking directly at each other like we are now, being able to see everything around us to make sure there's not an active shooter in sight, my constant fear.
For you. So I'm gonna tell you guys two things that are unforgivable to me that's happened today.
All right. All right.
Just so
Don't bring up the Garfield movie or you're out of here.
Just so you understand that it's fair.
Okay.
When you said that shit about Mr. Bean, I felt sick. I felt sick. I felt transported to a different time and place. I didn't know what was happening. I felt out of my body. I was dissociating. Right now with the lights, I feel sick about that.
I understand.
I feel sick. But you guys
You
got
ever
a lot
seen
of
Mr.
soul
Bean?
searching to do.
You've ever seen Mr. Bean? You see him get in that tiny little car? That's hilarious. Bring back slapstick.
I think it's beautiful. Kendahl and I are fucked up just for each other.
Just
And
right,
that's
just-
so that's what's so beautiful.
Yeah.
But I like clarity, you know? I like clarity in all things.
It's wholesome. The stuff y'all are agreeing and disagreeing about is wholesome. I'm not walking out of here and saying this is not a perfect match. I'm happy y'all found each other.
Thank you so much.
Fucked up match.
Yeah.
You said,
But it's
I
not
absolutely
wrong.
hate both of them, but I think they're incredible together.
I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna call my gal. I'm gonna say, listen, I heard some stuff today that made me feel really grateful about you. And one of them is that you never ever brought up Mr. Bean. And I'm gonna forgive her for the overhead lighting.
But not Mr. Bean?
No.
Mine's based in pure joy.
I couldn't live that way.
You've never even seen it.
Listen,
You've
is it
never even
embarrassing that
seen
Kendahl
it.
likes Mr. Bean? Yeah.
It's
Does she have a fat enough ass
classic.
that it makes it okay? 100%.
That's like saying not like
That's
Mr.
hot.
Bean is like
That's
not,
hot. Take that.
Come on.
No, because if you come from Mr.
No.
Bean,
No,
you come
that's
from Mr.
marriage.
Bean, you go too far. If you don't think Mr. Bean is funny, do you guys not think Tom and Jerry's funny? That's like the same thing. Tom and Jerry's hilarious. All right, you know what? We move on because I can't.
Let's get to
off.
some audience
that's
questions.
fucking wholesome as hell.
Let's get to some audience questions. Also, Kendall's like pretty young, so why she likes these things that are so old, it's haunting.
But it's feeling very useful. Your loves are very useful.
Kendall is filled with
Someone
a childlike
getting
joy.
chased around is never not funny. Someone slipping, never not funny. It's why America's Funniest Home Videos is such a hit.
So, and I'll say this is probably the biggest difference between Kendall and I. A lot of people, because Kendall and I have very different energies. I think Kendall's energy is very wholesome. My energy is very intense. And I know that is how it reads. Kendall and I are almost exactly the same when we're alone in private. We are so like the same person in different fonts. The biggest thing we disagree on is that there is nothing I hate more in this entire world than seeing a video of a person get hurt. And I know that's a very popular comedy genre.
I'm searching Hit in the Balls compilations on my...
I love a fail video.
I cannot watch them. They make me feel sick to my stomach. I'm like, where is that person now? They probably felt so embarrassed when it happened. It probably just like...
Well, some of them are so bad. It'll be on America's Funniest Home Videos. I'm like, that person's dead for sure.
They're dead.
Then it'll be like they're. It's not even. Some of them aren't even funny. It'll be like it's just a crash, like a bike crash, and I'm like, this is funny. That person definitely is.
And
dead.
on Instagram, I am sure that like some of them die, and people in the comments being like, "Hey, I kind of came on here for like a ball shot. Like I didn't want to see like."
You have to have class.
Yeah.
That's why I got off the internet. I go to Mr. Bean. We'll move on. Okay. There's a lot of that type of thing on Mr. Bean. This week we're going to be answering questions about dating and gender. And if you're like, why the hell was I not offered a moment to ask a question? You can head on over to our Instagram or you can email us at hwhlpodquestions@gmail.com.
This first question comes from our Instagram, and this person wants to know if we have any tips on dating a gender nonconforming person. I'm assuming this means as someone who's not gender nonconforming.
Any tips? I don't know. I feel like really communicating all the time. And I think that could be considered like a cliche answer, but I think that people that are gender nonconforming, their gender is so actually fluid that I find like talking about sex and talking about how we're feeling on a certain day, like what gender I feel like really landed in, really comfortable with, helps me feel realized by my partner.
Yeah.
And that is really hot and horny to me. And like even being able to like communicate in a way, we over communicate so much about gender that we can joke about it more.
Yeah.
You know, and so that would be not being afraid to have those conversations all the time.
Yeah.
Who are we today?
I love that.
That's
incredible. That's a great answer.
I also think it's nice to being open to change, I think is really important. And I think being respectful of the fact that like some people feel like their identities are not fluid and some people feel like their identities are fluid. So for me, I feel like my identity is very fluid. I do not feel tied to gender in any way whatsoever. I identify as gender nonconforming, but would in a perfect world identify as like gender irrelevant. I just don't think about it. It doesn't feel like part of me or my personhood. But also there are people who, regardless of what their gender identity is, feel very strongly tied to that. And I think being on the same page with your partner about how you feel about your own gender so they can know how to treat you according to that is also helpful.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes I get people that are like, you know, I'll see comments where it'll be like, she's such an unfunny bitch. And then the comment underneath will be like, asterisk, they.
They are such an unfunny bitch.
Yeah. And I'm like,
I want everyone at home to hear this. Stop leaving fucking weird comments like that. Stop doing that kind of shit.
We're going to have you come on every episode and do a little interlude in the middle.
I don't
Stop.
like that.
That's your type.
These are fucking people that you're talking about, okay? And you're hurting our feelings, god damn it.
yep. Because I'm like, I don't need you to be a gender warrior for me in the comments. Because I really don't care. I use any pronouns. I do not care about pronouns personally. I would like for you to defend my honor.
What's up?
Well,
what's up? Say that.
It's
You know?
funny because I feel like I'll have a similar thing with the way my name is spelled. My name is spelled a little weird. It's Kendahl, My mom kind of threw a silent H in there.
Yeah, fun.
And she said she wanted to look pretty in cursive. I can't write in cursive, but unfortunately for her, she spelled it a little weird. And people will be like on Reddit, and they'll be like, Kendahl can go fuck themselves. They're the worst person that's ever lived, and I hate them so much. And then, but they'll spell my name correctly. And I'm like, you must have gone to my Instagram and very respectfully made sure that you were spelling my name right. It's such a juxtaposition, such a layered person that would do that.
Ultimately, I count those as fans.
I do too. I'm like, thank you. No one spells my name right. That's very kind, but it's just so bizarre. Because I'm like, you clearly don't care about upsetting me. Why are you spelling my name right? But to them, they're like, that is respectful.
When you say gender irrelevant, what part of your gender presentation is, or your presentation is important to you? Brings you joy or confidence on a daily basis?
I think in a perfect world, none of it, right? Like if everything was just in a vacuum, I would love to not think or care at all what I look like. But for me, gender gets tied up in like what I feel internally and how I know I am perceived. I think there's a world where I'm going from they, she to they, he, if I could pull off a short haircut. I think there's a world where that's true. Ultimately, my face is so round, my hair needs to be this length.
Rock on.
I will always be perceived, for the most part, as a woman, for better or for worse. I know in so many ways that's like a privilege. I think it helps me, it hurts me, whatever it is. So I think there are things where it's like inside I feel completely neutral on gender. Outside I know how I'm perceived and how that affects me. This is not the answer to your question. This is just something that came to my mind.
No, but it is interesting. But I guess that was my question, is like, when you were talking about gender irrelevance, I always wonder in those moments when people are like, gender doesn't matter to me at all, like what they are feeling. That I feel like the thing that you're talking about not mattering to you at all is presentation is not mattering to you at all, because your gender understanding seems really like kind of vast.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like important in a way that makes you be like, actually, I'm not gonna take stock in if anyone can see my internal universe of stars. You know what I mean? But it is like, I'm sorry. I was just really honing in on thinking about irrelevant as like, well, what part of it is irrelevant? Because like it's becoming irrelevant to me now. I've been like they them for so long. When people are like, there she is, I don't even hear it, but it doesn't hurt me.
Yeah.
Like, I literally look around for who they're talking about, and then when I realize it's me, I'm like, oh my God, that's so funny. What a silly Billy.
Yeah.
You don't know who I am at all. But then my gender is still important to me, but they are irrelevant.
Yeah.
That 100% makes sense to me as well. I think I'm just like, so much to me in terms of presentation that's interesting to me is more like aesthetics, the things that I put on.
Totally.
But once again, they're not particularly gendered things. So I would say when I see something that feels like the most interesting to me aesthetic wise, it is like a mix in masculine and feminine. It's like a drag queen with a big beard. It, like that I feel like is what's most interesting to me, but also all of that is very put on. Those aren't the things that like I naturally am bringing to the table. It's like I want to wear like huge earrings and like a big clown shirt with like shrimp all over it. That to me is what is interesting in terms of presentation. But in terms of all the other aspects of me, I think it's also like I've been a lot of different weights, and I think that really can affect your gender presentation, because I think typically the heavier, as like someone who presents as female, was assigned female at birth, the heavier you are, the more you are perceived as a woman. And so I think I've become accustomed to that, where I think when I was younger, I wasn't perceived as so womanly because I was very thin. Like, I think so many weird things go into it.
Totally.
So I've just become where I'm kind of like, I don't really think about my own gender and I don't really care about it. And also extending to like, I identify as a lesbian, but also like if tomorrow Kendahl was like, I'm actually a trans man, I would be like, great, do you want me to not use lesbian anymore? I will use a different term, whatever like feels good to you. To me, yeah, I just don't, other than how I'm perceived, I don't think much about gender, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Cool.
It's always very complicated, and there's so many things of like, there's like, and then there's privilege attached to it, and it's like there's so much stuff around it.
Yeah.
I love hearing the way that people are understanding gender for themselves, because it's the only people that aren't very interesting to me at all are the ones that aren't thinking about gender at all, because they are doing what they were told. And I think that for most queer people, the thing that's so fascinating about us is that we have, because we didn't immediately fit into anything, we have deciphered every single aspect of our life and continue to.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I don't know, it's always just fun to hear people organize their thoughts.
Well, and it's really complicated too, because I feel like it is hard to separate. It's like, okay, this is what's on the inside, and then this is what society has told me, and I'm, why do I feel more masculine when I like go to the gym and work out? Well, it's because, it's like all mixed up and all these weird things. And I like went to a gender therapist for a little bit, and she was talking about how like a lot of like Mormons come to gender therapy, like ex-Mormons will come to gender therapy, or really religious people. And they have such a hard time because they're like, I don't feel like I'm like, if they're a woman, they're like, I don't feel like I'm a man. I don't really know what I feel like, but I have been presented this very specific thing of a woman. So it's made me go, oh, maybe I am trans, or maybe I'm non-binary, because to me, a woman, I don't like the role. Yeah, is like, I can't imagine being a woman and not wanting to be this very specific thing that's been in front of me my whole life. So I think it can feel so like, it's sometimes so simple, and then sometimes so complicated and like overwhelming.
Yeah, well, and then you break anything down, you're like, oh, well, I feel more masculine than feminine. And then you're like, but what is masculinity? And what, it's also, it's just like, it's kind of that thing where it's like you pull one thread and then all of a sudden like the whole garment unravels.
Yes.
And that's why I think non-binary and gender non-conforming are such nice terms to be able to use, because it feels like I can just be like, why do I need to have an answer? Why do I need to be like, this is the exact gender outline for myself for me to present to you? It's like, my gender is the least interesting thing about me. It's not something I feel attached to, so why do I need to present it in a neat package to like strangers?
You have to present it in a neat package for capitalism so that it can be consumed. But I do think that your like the gender that we're all talking about, these like energetics that we're all talking about, are our sense of self is actually rooted in our own humanity, which is like not exactly tied to our genitals and is not tied to our societal roles. And so that makes us very dangerous to an entire system that's built on gendered labor. Is if I'm like, actually, well, I'm a human being first, and I'd like to be understood as a human being. Well, it's harder to even have a draft if you think everybody's a human being. And it's harder to create a genocide if you think everybody's a human being. And it's harder to justify people mining for materials so that you can have your fucking Apple laptop if everybody's a human being. Everything is harder to justify in a capitalist society if we're all human beings.
100%.
But it's not hard to justify capitalism if half of your population is this gendered workforce and half is this gendered workforce.
Yeah, it's very specific roles for everyone to play that does not rock the boat.
Yep.
Sick. Sorry, I have an Apple laptop.
Me too.
I don't know how to work the other ones.
Throw it.
I don't know how to work the other ones.
No, I don't either. It's like a T83 calculator, or it's an Apple laptop, and the Apple laptop doesn't do anything.
Or it feels like it's a computer from NASA.
My God.
Sometimes these computers are like, I'm like, I just need to send one singular email, and I don't know how to do it.
You have to contact the satellites.
It's all gotten way too complicated. I tried to go on GarageBand the other day because I said, well, when I was younger, I used to make all these little beats on Rock Band. They sounded terrible, but I do a little piano here, a little drumming here.
Go on.
I get on GarageBand the other day, way too complicated. It was like I was a DJ at something. I couldn't do anything on there, and I got so upset.
Make a simple beat.
I was like, maybe I'll go on there and make a song.
You're gonna find out that they have an account where they're rapping over stuff.
That's really sweet. I didn't know you were doing that while I was at work. That's really sweet.
I gotta start working.
I gotta get that.
I wasn't doing any of my work. I was trying to make beats on Rock Band.
You're reading your porn and you're making beats.
Yeah.
Totally.
And then I come home, I'm like, did you take the laundry out of the dryer? She's like, I was working. I was working all day.
I turned off Mr. Bean really fast.
This person wants to know how they can emphasize in their Hinge bio that they would like to start a relationship as friends.
I don't know. I'm kind of just...
I think it's wrong. I think they're wrong. I'm sorry. I think they're wrong, right? Am I wrong?
Oh, no, I agree with you.
Why
Sorry, guys.
Why are you trying... we got Bumble BFF. You can use that. I think what maybe you're looking for is starting a relationship from a place of feeling connected and comfortable
Before you fuck.
And you don't have to be friends. If you're trying to make friends with the end goal of having sex with them, really hard to make a solid friendship, I would say. If that's the plan.
You're not in When Harry Met Sally. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'm like, when you tell the story of how you met, or when you tell, it might be amazing, but probably it will just be really normal. But it doesn't really matter to anyone. And maybe your story, when people are like, how did you meet, isn't as good. But it just like, it doesn't need to be that. I think when you go on Hinge, there's a lot of people who are looking to find a relationship. They need someone to walk their fucking dog. Stat. They don't have time to build something.
Which is what a relationship is. I do like that.
Yeah, I need someone to walk my dog.
No, I hear that. I think that I'm sorry this is going to sound mean, but it's not mean. I'm coming from a place of love.
Yeah, it always is.
I don't think this person should be dating.
Oh, at all? You
no,
think it's
no, sweetie,
cut off?
take a break. I'm not gonna go through the fucking trouble of going on a date and then be like, I want to be friends for. No. Dating, yuck. Yeah. I'm gonna meet horny, hot people in my kind of like sphere.
You're looking for hot singles in your area.
I'm looking for hot singles in my fucking area. And then we're gonna see if we have the chemistry to become more than hot singles in our area. But if I'm friends with them already, it's because we didn't have that.
Exactly. When I meet someone, like, when I was looking to date, if I met someone I was at all attracted to, I would be trying to kiss him on the mouth immediately. There's no time for...
And that's not a friend.
That's not a friend
You
at all.
can become friends after the fact, but that's not a friend.
My current partner and I were never friends once. We made eye contact one single time, and we were like, this, huh? Mm-hmm. We were not,
Yep.
No, please. Our interests are different.
Yep. Kendahl DM'd me on Instagram, and I said, would you like to move to Los Angeles and live with me forever? And now we're here.
I love that shit.
You can fall in love with a friend, don't get me wrong, but if you're going into it with the intention of being like, I want to make friends and then I want those friends to develop into relationships, I don't think you're going to have good friendships and I don't think you're going to have good relationships.
Well,
so it's like you're shooting yourself in both feet.
It'll be too neutral.
Yeah.
And it's also very annoying because I think, not this question is not annoying, but just I feel like it's only something that like queer people sometimes deal with on dating apps where it's like you're chatting with someone for a long time and then they're like, also like, I'm just kind of looking for friends.
No.
And I'm like, can you imagine people doing that, straight people doing that? That would never happen.
Yeah.
So it kind of feels like this mixing of kind of like lesbians or gay people in general. We're all dating, but we're also kind of just friends.
You know what's honest about straight people? The most honest thing is that they're fully like, I would never see my girlfriend in the light of day if we weren't having sex. If we were not romantic partners, I would never look at her again. And you're like,
100%. The whole build up to the wedding is just different events to say goodbye to what your life used to be.
Yep. They are not fucking hanging out. They are not starting as friends.
No, and I love straight couples like that. I think they're hilarious. And I'm like,
Me too.
and they work. Good for you. Because you guys know that this is essentially a business transaction, right? Like, this is a societal business transaction that
That's
you're entering.
the hot part about it.
Yes. So it's like you guys can share rent.
Yes.
And you guys can inevitably have a baby, which like you probably want to do. And then that's it. And then you're like, he's out golfing. I don't know. I don't know what he does.
No.
I don't like what he does.
No, they say he's out golfing so I can finally have some time to myself.
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
But it's so, you're right. It's so honest.
They build rooms in their homes. They build man caves. They say, please, we have to get a 2-story so I can have a room where I don't have to fucking look at you and your stupid decor from Home Goods is not there.
Yeah,
but
don't speak to me again, Sharon. I'm going down to my mole hole.
Yes. But I think that's nice in a way because I do feel like there's a lot of pressure, especially with like queer couples and lesbian couples, to be like, we come here. We spend
That's cute
24
though.
hours a day like this. When she gets mad, I quit my job. When she gets mad, I quit my job so I can. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, relax. You can still just like be normal. Like, you can be lesbians and be normal people. Mm-hmm. Sometimes like people will see that Kendahl and I disagree, and they'll be like, wow, Kendahl said that thing and you didn't support her in her idea. When my girlfriend says anything, I lick the bottoms of her dirty feet and apologize to her, whether or not it has to do with me. And I'm like, yeah, that's fully unnecessary and weird. You're a weirdo. Treat your wife like a normal person. Do you know what I mean? Like, just treat like so many lesbians are like, my wife is a goddess. I'm like, great. I guess mine is too in a way, but also we're
In
just,
a way.
we're just two normal people.
Sorry, I'm sorry, bro. You do not get to be a goddess. You're like talking about Mr. Bean.
That's not
know
goddess
what?
behavior.
You think Athena was over there being like, Mr. Bean?
Yeah.
There's some
Britain's
moments in
most
your life,
famous
viewers,
comedian?
where you'll realize you've surrounded yourself with the wrong people. And this is one of those moments.
Yeah, I'm just like, there's nothing wrong with, even if you are two women or two non-binary people or whatever, you're still allowed to treat your partner like a normal person.
And you know what? I'm borrowing straight culture a lot of the time. My partner will be like, "Hey, I'm gonna hang out with like and like name off some names," and I'm like, "That sounds like it's all girls." It's like, well, do I have to do that? And she's like, "No, but you are invited." I was like, "Well, thanks, but I don't want to hang out with a bunch of girls."
Yeah.
And then when I am upset, I'll go birding. And she's never like, "I want to go with you." She's fully like, my old man and his birds.
Yeah.
And I like that she's like, "I don't want to do that activity at all with you." And I'm
It's
like,
nice.
horny.
It shows that they respect you enough to let you do a thing that you love that they don't want to do. Kendahl has these lesbian movie nights with our friends that are like lower budget, like fun. I'm not interested in that. I don't want to watch a lesbian romance movie. That's just not for me. I don't want to do that unless it's like really graphic and intense and like upsetting.
You're talking about porn again.
Huh.
You want me to invite my friends over? You only show up if I'm watching
Watch
porn
yeah.
with my
no,
friends?
but I'm like, you like to watch these like
What
romance
the-
movies that are like very sweet and very hallmarky. That's just not my vibe. So
Yeah.
I let her have those nights, and I'm so happy for her.
Thank you.
And,
And
then
you're out with your boys.
me and my boys, we go see a horror movie, and then we go to BJ's and we get a Pizookie.
Yeah, we go to BJ's and get a BJ's.
Sorry. We're balls deep in a giant cookie together.
Yeah.
We just watched a movie where 3,000 people get murdered by a gun. That's what I want
By
to do.
one gun.
While my wife sits at home and watches
100%.
two people like coyly flirt at a Christmas tree farm.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not coy.
Yeah. I'm with you. I want to be with my boys talking about which gal they saw at the gym that they didn't make eye contact with because they thought she was pretty and they wanted to be a gentleman. I want to be talking about that over a Miller Lite.
Yeah.
You know what
wow.
I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to be having that.
It keeps us grounded. It keeps us, I think we're used to being like offended when someone's like, who's the boy? Who's the girl? And I'm like, if you don't know the answer, you have to pick, or you're not in a healthy relationship.
The best like stand-up bit I've seen on this recently is like when people ask who the boy is and who the girl is. I'm sorry, it's pretty fucking obvious all the time.
Yep.
Go ahead and take a look.
Look at me. Look at her.
Yeah, I got my little lady here. I'm gonna go ahead and say she's not the man.
Yeah.
Thanks for asking.
Hey, I'll say this. One of us is driving.
yeah.
One of
Yeah.
us is
And one of us
driving
is
the
bad at
car.
driving.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
One of
what
us is
I'll
driving
say-
the car. One of us is on her phone.
God damn.
And then there's
what
things-
is that about? How come the lady is always so? I don't want to get canceled, but like, why is the lady one always so bad at driving?
It really is. It's, you know what? I'll say this, and I don't want to get canceled for this. She's got a lot of thoughts in her head. She's thinking about a lot of stuff. And my one thought is protecting her. That is the thing.
Oh, that's the way that we'll get the least canceled for this.
Sorry.
You're totally right. My gal is over there witnessing God in all small creation.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm fully being like, you don't have to brake before you turn.
Yep.
In fact, you can't turn if you're braking.
And what this is because she is filled with joy,
Yes.
and you and I are filled with panic.
Oh.
And that's what gender is.
Yes, bro, that is so true. There's the joyful one, and then there's the mischievous, angry one.
Yep. And one of you gets things done, and one of you brings beauty to the world.
Yeah.
God, that's so sweet.
Fuck
and
yeah.
You need both.
There, you do, and it's like let yourself be attracted to those moments where they're doing something so in their
Okay, this is self-serving.
in the box they put. Like every time I wipe out down the counter, every time Jordan across the room goes, "My little barkeep."
Oh.
They love when I wipe down the counter, and I'm like, because you like when I clean. You think it's hot
I
when
do.
I clean.
I think it's hot when she cleans. And
'Cause
I clean
girl,
too.
I clean.
I do a
Girl
lot of
cleans.
cleaning. Let's be clear about that. I do a lot of cleaning.
You do a lot of
But
boy cleaning.
Kendahl, first of all, she's wearing no pants. So what? Sorry, lock me
Love
up
that.
if I like that. Sorry, lock me up.
Lock me up.
Sorry, put me in jail if that's illegal all of a sudden. Probably will be soon.
Yeah.
She's walking around the house, no pants, a little towel. She's waving it around. She's wiping things. Sorry, you would like it too.
Yeah, no, I completely understand. My gal makes coffee in the morning in her little like pajamas, And I'm over there being like anti-women's rights.
Yep.
I suddenly don't believe that women deserve the right to vote. I'm fully like, this is the way that God wanted this to happen.
Yep.
Look at that little fucking creature, that woodland mouse,
Yep.
trying to figure out how to get the milk right and blah, 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 in her little like night dress.
Yeah.
And I'm over here in boxers. Suddenly I have a rake in my hands. She's asking me to take out the trash again. I mean, it's...
Your ass is unbelievably itchy for no reason. I don't know what it is.
It's male.
It's just something
It's male.
different. If you relate to any of this, let us know in the comments. If you don't,
Then just be
just
quiet.
don't comment. Just don't, unless you want to be like, you guys look so good. Like something like that.
Yeah.
If you found this offensive, just don't comment.
Yeah.
Don't comment. Go birding. Use the Cornell birding app. I've heard a lot of people read
Yeah,
it.
people really like that.
Yeah, if you did
I'm
not
gonna
like
look
this
that
episode,
up.
use
I've
the birding
never
app.
heard of
Oh,
that.
it's awesome. I'll
It
send it to
sounds
you.
awesome.
Yeah,
Please.
this is awesome. Well, Ira, thank you so much for being here. This has been absolutely wonderful.
I can't believe we ended this on me saying I'm anti-suffrage.
And that's going to be the name of the episode.
also- we
Tell
only
your
started-
manager to watch out for
I
that.
feel like I have to say I'm pro-vote.
Interesting. Not what
We're not even gonna be allowed to vote in a couple more
why is
months.
this
Yeah,
happening?
Well, you're like falling asleep as you say it because your body's shutting down. Is there anything you want to plug?
I'm going on tour in the spring. I'm gonna be support for Orla Gartland, who is an awesome artist, and I hope that I see you out there. But I'm also gonna be going on tour myself as the headliner in the fall, and so keep an eye out. We'll be putting out music all year. It's gonna be a good year.
Incredible.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming. This was an absolute treat.
Thank you for having me. I hope we don't get canceled, but if we do, I feel like
This
we
was
had
a
a
good
nice
run.
time.
We had a really
This
good
is worth
time.
it.
Yeah.
Really
I
good
would
time.
say if you're like, you want to stick around, we're going to be over on Patreon chatting it up. And if you are watching on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anywhere you get your podcasts, make sure to rate and review. And if you are on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I think that's it.
Yeah, we're in the Spotify offices as always. So thank you. And that's all. Happy Monday.
Bye.
Bye.